Hello everyone, I'm Larry Huffman, your host of On Two Wheels. In this program, we enter the Supercross years with the flair and circumstance of the early 1980s, Anaheim Stadium style. That's right, with a sellout crowd of over 70,000 screaming fans, Supercross comes of age in Anaheim. The 1982 Anaheim Stadium race marks the beginning of a Supercross tradition that continues right on through the 1980s. In the first half of our show, let's join announcers Paul Page, Johnny Rutherford, Jimmy Weinert, and Bruce Jenner in the 1982 Supercross season opener.
In heat number one, it was last year's champion, Mark Barnett, battling with Donnie Hansen. It was a clean, smooth start. This series of ramp jumps is called the Himalayas, and you can see the riders take the pounding as they head over. But it was Donnie Hansen to take the checkered flag, coming off the catapult at the end of heat number one. Bill Lyles came past in second, Mark Barnett in third, and George Holland in fourth, all going to the final round. Heat number two featured the Rhinestone Cowboy, Kent Howerton. 5 months ago, he broke his left hand, and he's riding with a brace on that hand. He says he has about 70% of his grip. The real battle, though, developed between number 41, Kenny Keon, and number 20, Darrell Schultz. They battled side by side. Finally, Schultz set Keon up in the sand pit and was able to go by through the crunchers on lap number 9. All Keon could do was follow Schultz on to victory. So that sent Darrell Schultz and Kenny Keon, along with Rick Johnson and Kent Howerton, into the feature. As they lined up for heat number 3, this California crowd was cheering for two young Californians, Johnny O'Mara and Danny Magoo Chandler. O'Mara ran smoothly throughout the race, though it was tight with trouble on the first lap, but O'Mara and the key riders got through. But then, coming toward the end of the heat, O'Mara himself got into trouble. At the battlefield, O'Mara rides off the course and into the hay bales. The motor quits on the bike. O'Mara tries to pull it out, then climbs back on and tries to restart the engine. Danny Chandler is now closing. O'Mara gets it started and pulls off again. And O'Mara just barely holds off Chandler to win heat number 3. Jim Gibson and Tom Benolkin also went into the feature from heat number 3. The fourth heat featured one of the most colorful and successful riders in motocross, Bob Hanna, with 19 Supercross wins. Chuck Sun also riding in this heat, but it was Bob Hanna who ended up in a battle with number 11, Jeff Ward, as Hanna comes past Ward on the inside and is able to move on to victory. So Bob Hanna finishes first in heat number 4, Jeff Ward second, Chuck Sun and Steve Martin also move into the feature. 16 riders are now determined for the feature. Now come the semifinals. This is the last chance for the riders that were unsuccessful in the heats. They'll take 2 riders out of each of the 2 semis. And it was Ron Turner throwing his bike over the catapult to edge out Brian Myerscough. Both of those riders moved into the feature. In the second semifinal round, Warren Reed did battle with Jim Holley. This was their last chance to make it into the feature. Only the top 2 positions count. Holley was leading, and then Reed poured on the coal, ducked below, and Warren Reed moved into first place. At the end of semifinal round number 2, it was Warren Reed coming across the line number 1. And Brock Glover was able to move up and finish second. So Reed and Glover moved into the final round. So now 20 riders were chosen, and we're ready for the feature of the Anaheim Stadium Motocross. All the riders now ready. They begin to surge forward. The gate drops, and 20 riders are on their way, heading for the Superbowl as Darrell Schultz heads out in front, safely through the first turn and heading for the Himalayas.
Darrell Schultz leading, Jeff Ward in second, Donnie Hansen third, and Chuck Sun in fourth.
The field sweeps through another right-hander and then over the double cruncher. Now another right-hander and up toward the Grand Teton.
It's incredible to watch these athletes scrambling, trying to gain position from the back. The guys that are faster in the back are going for it, pushing very hard. Riding one of these things reminds me of when I used to rodeo a little bit as a kid. You put a leg on either side and keep your mind in the middle.
Some sage advice, Johnny Rutherford. There they are in the sand pit, the rest of the field, while the leaders now heading down through the rockers. They begin a battle side by side. And it's Darrell Schultz that leads them up toward the catapult. On the other side is Bruce Jenner.
This is a very unique finish line right there. At the end of this race will be the finish line. They're 15 feet in the air. Darrell Schultz a slight lead, a very competitive first lap.
Now they begin lap number 2, and Hansen pours on the power and forces his way past Jeff Ward as they're in the super berm.
Hansen got a tremendous push off of the berm and just flat drove by him like he was painted on the fence.
So now it is Schultz, Hansen, Ward, and Chuck Sun. They're working lap number 2, 20 laps, the scheduled distance, as Darrell Schultz leads the field. And Johnny Rutherford, this is a sport that you go flat out right from the start to the finish.
Yes, Paul, and I think it says a lot for these riders. They have to be in incredible condition to hang on to that machine for that many laps and go flat out as hard as you can the total distance.
Well, Darrell Schultz is out in front right now, but it could be anybody to move up at any time. Not only is there the possibility of a disaster laying the bike down, but there's also the fact that you can close that distance in just no time.
It doesn't take any time at all for the closing rate. As you can see, a guy will make one little mistake, and bang, they're right on him.
And take a look at this. Back in 11th place, Bob Hanna. He's the winningest rider in all of Supercross, 19 victories. But he has his work cut out for him now as he tries to work his way up from 11th place. The riders begin to string out, so let's go down by the Grand Teton where Jimmy Weiner is located.
Here's Darrell Schultz going over the double crunch. Very strong rider, taking very smooth lines through the Teton, coming to a nice right-hand turn. Very smooth, very strong. Over the big Teton. Now he's taking the very good low line around the battlefield turn. Followed by Donnie Hansen, who's going to the outside into the sand pit. Hansen's in trouble, but he holds his position. Back to you, Paul.
Hansen catches a mouthful of dirt, almost drops the bike, but maintains second place. It's still Schultz out in front. Hansen second, and now Jeff Ward moves up and begins to challenge Hansen. It's Ward alongside, and Ward moves into second place.
That's got to be one of the toughest places on the course to pass, but that shows what these guys are made of. They're really going for it.
Well, 3 laps are now complete. Darrell Schultz has led right from the start, but we've seen a tremendous battle between Hansen and Ward for second place as Hansen closes once again on the back of Ward's machine. And still sitting back in 11th place is Bob Hanna, trying desperately to move up and approach the leaders. Darrell Schultz still out in front. A smooth ride right from the start, but still it's anybody's race as Jeff Ward is right behind Schultz. There comes Schultz. Ward beginning to close. Schultz takes it off of the battlefield. Still running smoothly.
At this point in the race, they are smoothing up a bit because they've had a chance to run the course. They know what they're doing. They know the bumps, the lines. They're still going at it very fiercely, though, Paul.
Schultz almost drops it. He's off the bike. Climbs back on. Ward goes past. Hansen goes past. Schultz runs back to third place, so we have a new leader for the first time in the race as Jeff Ward brings her across the line in first place. Right behind him is Donnie Hansen, and Schultz has dropped back to third after almost laying the bike down going through the rockers. Watching our new leader, Jeff Ward, here's Jimmy Weiner.
Jeff Ward now in the lead, followed by Donnie Hansen. I'll tell you, Jeff is doing one heck of a job out there leading this race. I know it must be hard for him. He's not accustomed to leading supercross races. And I know exactly how it feels because when I used to lead these races, sweat used to pour out down from my goggles. They used to fog up. And I'll tell you, I bet his parents are very proud of him up in the stands. He's holding off Donnie Hansen, who's a hard charger. And I'll tell you, it's one hard pace that they are running out there right now. Paul?
21-year-old Jeff Ward riding number 11 out in front of a stadium motocross for the first time. He was born in Scotland, raised in the United States, and is doing a magnificent job right now. That's Donnie Hansen beginning to close right behind him. Jeff Ward holds him off as they come over the catapult, 15, 20 feet in the air, and complete another lap. But this time, Jeff Ward is scored as the leader.
Paul, they are setting an incredible pace, and as you can see, they're pulling away from the rest of the pack. It's going to be interesting to see just how long they can keep this up.
Now Hansen closes once again on Ward, and it's a battle again for the front. Let's go down to Bruce Jenner. Bruce?
And Paul, right now, coming down there, it's Donnie Hansen trying to make a move on the inside around Jeff Ward. Cannot quite do it. And right behind him is Schultz and O'Mara, but I think Donnie Hansen has decided to make his move for the lead, Paul.
No question about it, Bruce Jenner. It's Donnie Hansen pressuring Jeff Ward. Hansen moves around Ward, and Hansen is out in front. If he can go on to victory, this will be his first motocross win in a Supercross. Donnie Hansen out in front. Jeff Ward, though, is responding with that challenge and pursuing Hansen.
Paul, I have a watch on Donnie Hansen for this lap. When they go across the finish line, there it is, a 1:01, the fastest lap of the race today. They are really going after it.
And Donnie Hansen becomes our third leader. Darrell Schultz led from the start to lap 3. Then Jeff Ward took over, and now Donnie Hansen is out in front, and he is screaming away from Jeff Ward, really pouring the power on. Motocross is one of the most physically punishing of all sports. They take incredible punishment as they throw these bikes back and forth. Jimmy Wire, it's also a sport of skill and balance.
That's correct, Paul, I'll tell you, and you can watch Donnie Hansen going into the sandpit. The way they have to muscle the bike around, move the body back and forth. Now move up on the tank to get through the corner, get ready for the next jump. It's not easy. You have to have complete concentration. And as Donnie Hansen's portraying right here, he's doing a very fine job. Into the rockers once again. Oh, off the foot pegs. He had to quickly get back to them. Otherwise, Jeff Ward would have been past him. Paul?
We'll be back right after these messages. Well, it's visions of a motorized ant farm here at Anaheim Stadium. Not really. This is Anaheim Stadium Supercross. I'm Paul Page with Johnny Rutherford, Jimmy Weinert, and Bruce Jenner. And Donnie Hansen is out in front. Jeff Ward is chasing him, and Johnny O'Mara has now moved up into third place. It's the young men out in front.
Paul, it's interesting to note here the new faces running out front. As Jimmy said earlier, these guys have never been in this position before. Maybe it's a sign of the future.
Donnie Hansen's problem in the past has been one of consistency, but during the last season, he picked up the smoothness needed to do well at motocross and is running very well here. Some of his close friends also say that his marriage to Lisa over the winter has really made a difference to stabilize his life. Well, he's stabilized out in front of Jeff Ward now as they continue to race around this quarter-mile motocross track.
It's interesting here. Watch his moves. He's very fluid, very smooth. Making these jumps, he knows the course now, and he's settled into running very fast. Maybe that's why he's taking this commanding lead.
And there's the battle for 6th place between the perennial rivals, Mark Barnett and Bob Hanna. Hanna, you'll remember, got a bad start, sat in 11th place for a while, now has moved up to 7th place to challenge Mark Barnett.
Those guys look like they're flying formation, Paul, running the same, over the jumps the same. Really something to watch.
Now, the nature of the motocross course changes lap to lap. Bruce Jenner has been keeping track of those changes in this course, and we go down to Bruce Jenner now for this report.
Right now, Paul, this is an all-important turn. You can notice there's a berm that's building up, and as the riders come through, they're able to use this berm to get a good shoot down the stretch. Now, as they go through this turn, it's very important that they get a good turn through here because they want to get as many RPMs as they can to get as much speed down that straightaway. Because there's only a few places to pass on this course, and the straightaway is one of them, Paul.
That furious battle for 6th place continues as Mark Barnett now gives way, and Hurricane Bob Hanna moves past, and Hanna's now in 6th place.
Bob Hanna has been averaging 59 seconds a lap for the last 2 laps, Paul. That's 2 seconds a lap faster than the leaders, and that's for 6th place.
And it's this man, Donnie Hansen, in 1st place as number 7, well out in front of the 2nd place bike of Jeff Ward. And watching Hansen lead is Jimmy Weinert. Jimmy?
Yeah, Paul, this is the dream of a lifetime for Donnie Hansen from Simi Valley, California. He used to win all the local races. The factory teams watch him. They picked him up. He has proven his worth now after 3 years on the circuit. And I'll tell you, his wife, Lisa, is very proud of him right now. If he can hold it up and keep going, he's going to have his first victory ever. But we never know until the checker flag gets there. He is still being hounded by the other riders. And I'll tell you right now, going through his mind is that first victory. Can I do it? And I've worked with Donnie a little bit this year, doing a little practice. We play racquetball together. He's trained hard. I think he has the confidence and the strength to go on to win it. Let's see what happens, Paul.
And Donnie Hansen now has an additional problem as he begins to wind his way through the back markers in the field.
Paul, that's always a problem, and you have to watch where they go and stay out of trouble. In this case, it could cost him because 2nd place is very close, could close the gap, take it away from him, and he certainly doesn't want that to happen.
Well, Donnie Hansen moving well out in front now. It is Ward in 2nd place and Johnny O'Mara in 3rd. We're back at the Anaheim Stadium Supercross, where Donnie Hansen continues to lead. Now, the race opened with Darrell Schultz taking the lead. He led until lap 3. Then Jeff Ward got past and led for 3 laps. And then Donnie Hansen took over, and he has led to this point. Jeff Ward has dropped back into 2nd place, and Johnny O'Mara is sitting in 3rd. Donnie Hansen is running well, showing no fatigue whatsoever.
Jeff Ward, running in 2nd, had a show of strength early in the race, leading at 3 laps, but he can't keep up with that pace.
Ward's motor seemed to be strong in the early going, but he seems to be slowing down just a bit now. There's Johnny O'Mara. He's locked in a battle for 3rd place. He's currently in 3rd, but he's being chased by Darrell Schultz, the early leader in the race. And Donnie Hansen running very smoothly out in front. On his way, he hopes to a victory. Let's go down to the catapult. Here is Bruce Jenner.
Well, you get a different perspective as you see the leaders. There goes Donnie Hansen by us. But a different perspective from down here on the track and the amount of height that they get coming off this jump. It almost seems like they have to get clearance from air traffic control because they get so high. But the idea in motocross is to keep that back wheel on the ground, keep that power down so you can accelerate. Don't get too high.
Donnie Hansen running smoothly around the racetrack. He has backed off the pace just a bit. And about 50 yards back is this man, Jeff Ward, who is running in 2nd place. And sitting behind Ward in 3rd place is Johnny O'Mara. And Donnie Hansen wobbles his way now through the rockers. At any point on this course, Hansen could drop that bike, but so could the 2nd place rider, Jeff Ward. Hansen has a lead, though, and is determined to keep it. Let's go down to Bruce Jenner.
Paul, with 2 laps to go from down here on the track is getting ruddy. There's 20 bikes that started this race. They've gone 18 laps. It's all dug up. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of very tired riders out there. A lot of things can happen in the last few laps for Donnie Hansen. But as of right now, he's out in the lead. He looks to be under control and riding beautifully.
Donnie Hansen with less than 2 laps to go now, as he's watching every move very carefully. The track changing with every lap, and he has just a short distance now and his first victory ever in a Supercross. But Johnny, you still have to take care right to the checkered flag.
You really do, especially now that he's coming into some traffic. This is the point to where anybody could touch him, he could go down and cost him the whole shooting match.
So Donnie Hansen being ever so careful as he takes it through the rockers. Slower riders all around him. A mistake could end the day for Hansen at this point. It's still not over yet. He heads for the catapult. The white flag is out, and there is 1 lap to go for victory for Donnie Hansen. Around onto the main straightaway. He heads for the super berm. Donnie Hansen well out in front. Ward is in 2nd place. Now Hansen through the Himalayas, still running smoothly. He knows now that he is very, very close. Speaking of close, look at this battle for 3rd place. That's O'Mara, number 9. And Schultz begins to push alongside. Schultz moves ahead. Now Schultz is around O'Mara, and in 3rd place, O'Mara drops back to 4th. So Schultz, a terrific move, but now Schultz off the course. O'Mara by on the inside. Schultz back to 4th. O'Mara in 3rd, but Schultz moving once again. Schultz right in behind O'Mara. He's there and could move. Now it's Donnie Hansen out in front. Ward in 2nd, O'Mara in 3rd. And there is Hansen. 1 more turn to go. He bounces his way into that final turn. Points for the catapult. And Donnie Hansen wins the Anaheim Supercross. Jeff Ward comes across the line in 2nd place. And there's Johnny O'Mara, who has finished 3rd. But the day belongs to Donnie Hansen, winning his first Supercross ever. Jeff Ward, the 2nd place rider, congratulates Donnie, and the crowd of over 70,000 here congratulating our winner. The official order of finish: Darrell Schultz 4th, Johnny O'Mara 3rd, Jeff Ward in 2nd, and Bruce Jenner's with our winner.
Congratulations, Donnie. Thank you, Bruce. Got it right. Had a little bit of trouble at the start. Had to work a little bit for that lead, but once you got it, you were impossible to catch.
It took me a while to get loosened up and get the corners dialed. After that, I felt pretty good, and it's made my move then.
It's got to help this season starting off this well.
I'm really happy with it. I hope it continues.
Yeah, well, congratulations to you. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Bruce.
And Donnie Hansen, our winner.
From 1982, let's move the calendar forward exactly 1 year to the running of the 1983 Anaheim Supercross race. Announcers Paul Page and Johnny Rutherford will call the racing action as originally aired. This race introduces the use of the dreaded water hazard in the middle of the racetrack. Let's check it out.
The pulse increases. Tensions mount. The focus is on a single goal: victory. It's a tremendous crowd at Anaheim Stadium, but they're not here to see the Angels play or the Rams. Baseball, football, they'll draw crowds of 64,000 people, but the largest crowd ever in the history of Anaheim Stadium was here last year for Stadium Supercross. Hello. I'm Paul Page with Johnny Rutherford, and we're back once again in Southern California for the Anaheim Stadium Supercross, that ballet of motorcycles dancing in air. It's a sport in which a rider at age 22 is a long-time veteran. And, John, they are superb athletes.
They really are, Paul. Metabolic studies have proven that motocross racers are among the best athletes in the world. Soccer players are in second place. Our National Football League football players are a distant 8th place in the race.
And they're going to need that superb conditioning, too, because now they've had a change in format from previous years, and they'll be riding longer and harder.
Yes, Paul. Unlike last year, they're having to ride in 2 motos to do the feature. So these guys are going to be awfully tired when it comes time to run that feature. And when you get tired, you lose your concentration. So it could make the feature very interesting.
And as if that were not enough of a challenge, they've added one more little wrinkle, and some of the riders are not very happy about it. Gary Gerald has that story right now.
Well, Paul, that new obstacle you speak of, a water hazard. It's something the fans dearly love to see in Stadium Supercross racing. It's something that the riders don't particularly enjoy. And one of those who's been talking about it, wondering how he's going to attack this particular competition, Bob Hanna, the veteran known as the Hurricane. This is tough. You got the water, you got the slippery bike to contend with. How are you going to handle this?
Well, everybody's got to handle it. It's no different from me than anybody else. So it creates a problem. It makes it a little slippery, makes it bad on our eyes. Goggles, trying to pass in it. If somebody's right in front of you, you can't see. But everybody's got the same problem, so I guess we all have to live with it, you know.
Well, it's an interesting way to start a new season, and I hear reports, we've watched you in practice, the indications are that the old Hurricane is really back up to force. You appear to be really attacking this course spectacular fashion.
I hope to. I'm trying, you know. I got one more good year anyway, and I want to make it now, you know. I don't have that long to wait around. I'm not a kid anymore, you know.
Some of these young kids are awful tough, aren't they?
Yeah, they're getting faster. The younger are faster. They're a little crazy. They want it. I've already had it, and they want to take it away, you know. I don't know. It's getting rough.
Well, we wish you well tonight. Here's Bob Hanna, one man we're going to be watching very closely, along with some other outstanding riders in this great competition. Let's go back upstairs now to Paul Page and Johnny Rutherford.
Well, already the preliminary events are complete, and Hurricane Bob Hanna showed he is indeed a power to contend with, having won one of those events. The question still, though, will be that of fatigue. How tired will these riders be for the final? Let's go back to one of the semis. Here's the 23-year-old Danny Chandler. Magoo out in front, throwing Magoo's dust back on everybody. But in particular, back on Johnny O, the 22-year-old Johnny O'Mara, who is trying desperately to catch up with Chandler. At the same time, Rick Johnson, in 3rd place, is closing down on the leader.
Rick Johnson has been making his move slowly, and he's coming up into the part they call the Himalayas. He's catching Johnny O'Mara, and he goes by him to take 2nd place, Paul.
O'Mara almost off of his bike as Johnson goes by on the inside and comes over that giant mountain, a 15-foot-high mound of dirt, and sets his sights on the leader, Danny Chandler. This course was constructed here on the floor of the stadium earlier in the week. Tons of dirt placed on the stadium floor, and they've really done a nice job.
Yes, they have, Paul. In fact, now they're going over the Himalayas, heading down toward what they call the double jumps. It's a row of mound of dirt across the turn in double jumps, so they have to leap in the air twice, very high. Here they're coming down through what they call the towers, which gets them like way up in the air, and they have to time it so they come down just right. Off of the plunge, they call it, around a very tight turn, back to the sand pit, which all of them seem to be having a little trouble with. Heading around the turn, going into the catapult, which sends the bikes once again very high into the air, around to the dreaded water hole, which has caused a great deal of controversy here. They're heading now for the rockers, Paul, which has caused a great deal of problems for a lot of the riders here during these heats.
And it was here at the Rockers that Rick Johnson made his most valiant effort. But it was still Danny Chandler that flew over the checkered flag. Johnson in second place to complete that semifinal round. So 18 riders are ready, but not there as national number 1. Donnie Hansen is still recovering from injuries that he suffered last fall. You saw him win this event last year on NBC Sports World. We'll be back for the start right after this. We're in the final seconds of the countdown to the start of the Anaheim Stadium Supercross. 18 riders at the bar. The teams report that some of these magnificent machines are worth over $40,000. Now for the start, let's go down to Gary Gerald. Gary?
The fatigue of the earlier heats now all forgotten, the sense of anticipation building just seconds away as 20 make that 20 laps of action. 18 of the world's finest riders set to charge down as this gate will drop. They'll make a pell-mell dash to the first turn for 20 laps on the floor of the Anaheim Stadium. It's finals time and they're just about ready to go.
The revs come up. The heartbeats come up. 18 riders are ready. They watch the gate now. Final seconds. All eyes straight ahead, looking at that straightaway and then the super berm. A bank turn, the gate drops. They're off. The congestion running down that first straightaway. Danny Chandler jumps out in front. Chandler leads the field through the first turn.
Paul, it never ceases to amaze me that they all come together at that super berm and no one crashes.
Now Brock Glover pulls alongside Bailey, and Glover moves into third place. Chandler still the lead. Lap number 1 at the Anaheim Stadium Supercross. That's Danny Chandler out in front. Right behind him, his teammate, Phil Larson. They're leading this event. Brock Glover on the Yamaha begins to close now in third. Right behind him is Dave Bailey. There's Chandler. His machine, he's off the bike. He drops the bike. Our leader's down. Larson gets by. Glover gets by. Bailey gets by, and Chandler is hurt.
Larson takes the lead, Paul. He's now running, but Glover is coming up on that yellow number 6.
Glover on the inside, and Glover is now our leader. So here in the first lap, already 3 different lead changes. Brock Glover now begins to pull away as Larson and Dave Bailey begin to battle. That's Bailey, number 11, that has moved into second place. Glover comes across the line in first, and Phil Larson comes by in third place. Now let's go back and look at that accident with Danny Chandler.
Paul, we see him here normal into the air, coming down into the sand pit, which has caused problems at every race. He's up over the second jump. The wheel comes down. He has it turned on. The bike just walks out from under him, and down he goes.
And as a result of that accident, the Golden Boy, Brock Glover, moves out in front, followed by Bailey and Larson. Glover, a 3-time 125cc champ, is out and leading the Anaheim Stadium Supercross. Now a report. Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
Well, there was a lot of confusion in that crash. Chandler went down. There were riders behind him who also stacked up. Bob Hanna, Rick Johnson were a couple of the top names involved. They've got a long way to go now if they have any opportunity to get up with the leaders.
And there is the leader, Brock Glover, on number 6. He's having his struggle with the course, but a man with a more desperate battle. Danny Chandler, number 22, the only man to win all 4 events at the Trophy to Nations, now in 16th place and trying to come back and pick up the lead that he occupied right at the start. Brock Glover now leading Dave Bailey and Phil Larson as they come through the rockers.
Paul, they've manicured this track between each of the heats, but it's still coming apart. It's getting very loose, and we see the riders starting to tire. As I said earlier, they had to run 2 heats in order to make this feature event. Some of them had to run 3, so we're starting to see the tiring efforts coming in. They're losing their bikes. They're bouncing off of hay bales. It's getting increasingly tougher for them.
And you can see, too, how physical this sport is. Each of these bikes weigh 216 pounds, and they literally pick them up and throw them back and forth on the floor of the Anaheim Stadium. This course built in less than 2 days here. Now let's take a look at that dreaded water obstacle. And how does our leader, Brock Glover, approach this part of the racetrack?
I would come into it as fast as I could and try to jump halfway across it, let's say, and get the front wheel kind of high so I don't get some water splashed up in my own face. And then the exit's very tricky here because there's a bank of sand, but it's become very saturated with water. It's really soft, so when you hit it, yeah, you might see some crashes here tonight because the edge is so soft and the wheels sink right into it, and it almost stops you momentarily, and then from there, it's quite easy to fall down.
23-year-old Brock Glover, as he powers his way around the course on his Yamaha, he is in first place. Second is Bailey, third is Larson. We'll be right back. This is Paul Page with Johnny Rutherford and Gary Gerald, and we're back with another massive crowd at Anaheim Stadium for Supercross. Currently, our leader is Brock Glover on number 6. He's being pursued by the number 11 machine of Dave Bailey, and Phil Larson is in third.
Paul Glover is a 5-time national champion, so he's no stranger to this business. And here we get a chance to watch some of his technique. You watch him shift his weight back, sticking his foot down at the proper spot through the water hazard, coming around to the rockers, where the bike takes tremendous pounding. The suspension works, his arms and legs work, keeping his balance to keep it straight.
They have to deal not only with the physical torture of the ride, but there's a problem of visibility, too. Gary Gerald has this report.
Well, Paul, obviously visibility can be a big problem when you've got a water jump and when you've got muddy spots on the course. Mud thrown up into the face of a rider makes it very difficult, impossible sometimes to see. Here's Vince McMahon now. He's demonstrating one of the latest wrinkles that helps the visibility. He has this thin strip of plastic film on this roll-off system. He pulls this a couple of times and he has clear vision. He can pull that about 30 times. There's 20 feet of that clear plastic in there. Hopefully that takes care of the problem, at least momentarily. He can once again see on the course.
You may have also noticed Vince is wearing some of that protection that they wear around their body and on their knees as well, because it's not only mud that is thrown in their face. There's a problem with rocks and other debris, and it can be very painful when you come over one of these mounds and are hit with a face full of very hard dirt. Brock Glover is out in front. Dave Bailey continues to pursue him. There is Glover as he throws the bike high in the air. Right behind him, though, just off your screen, is Dave Bailey, who from time to time has been able to move up and close down on Glover.
Bailey has been riding a very conservative race, sitting back there and doing no more than he needs to stay right on the tail of Glover. So he may be in the prime spot, the only one to overtake Glover and give him a run for the money at the end.
Here is a man that we're more accustomed to seeing in the yellow of Yamaha, but he is in the red, white, and blue of Honda. It's the winningest man in the sport with over 55 major victories, Hurricane Bob Hanna. But he is having his problem here tonight. He's running back in 8th place. Here are the leaders once again. Brock Glover in number 6. Dave Bailey. Glover's off the bike. Glover is trying to get that bike going, and on the outside, Dave Bailey goes past. Glover is back in 2nd place.
Oh, that was incredible. And there again, the rockers take their toll. You saw Glover riding along, and suddenly the bike took a bounce he wasn't expecting. Off he went, and Bailey goes by, taking the lead. Here we take a look at it again in slow motion. You see him riding along there, the bike working very hard. He's on it. Suddenly it takes that little rock bump, the rockers, and up he goes. Gets off of the bike, coming down almost like he's going to bulldog it, grabbing it and doing a miraculous save.
So as a result of this fall by Brock Glover, you can see Dave Bailey moves by on the outside, and it's Bailey out in front. And now Glover is the man who in desperation has to try and catch number 11 and pick the lead up once again. So Dave Bailey, for the first time, moves out in front to lead here at Anaheim Stadium. And he now heads toward Gary Gerald.
It was here at the sand pit early in the race that it caused problems for Danny Chandler, Bob Hanna, and others. Dave Bailey has handled it beautifully all night. He's pursuing the first major victory of his career. He's the man they're all chasing right now.
Dave Bailey, who was ranked 10th in Supercross last year, but did suffer some injuries. But look at this. Hurricane Hanna is on the charge. Here's the battle for 3rd place. Currently occupied by Larson, but Hanna on number 12 is attacking this course with a vengeance. Right behind him is Kent Howerton, but still well out in front, and now able to expand his lead is Dave Bailey. He is the man that Roger DeCoster got the factory ride for. DeCoster says he is a coming champion, and he is certainly showing that kind of style here. So young Dave Bailey leads. 2nd is Brock Glover. Phil Larson is 3rd. We'll be back. This is Paul Page with Johnny Rutherford and Gary Gerald. We're back at the Anaheim Stadium Supercross, where Dave Bailey has now expanded his lead over Brock Glover. Let's go down to trackside. This report from Gary Gerald.
Critical part of the tower section of this course. Bailey, flawless, the suspension working beautifully. He's opened up a quick and impressive lead now over Brock Glover.
Bailey has really been working. He looks so smooth, Paul. It's incredible to see just exactly how he gets around. He's making it look effortless.
His father is Gary Bailey, who in his days as a rider they called the Professor of Motocross. So just naturally they call young Dave the Little Professor. And he is out and front and leading. Currently riding in third place is Phil Larson. He's being chased by Hurricane Bob Hanna. And Kent Howerton is in fifth place, still in the fight.
Boy, these guys have been going at it really tough. You can see the track is loosening up there, Paul. And they're coming around. Hanna's making a move on Larson, coming out of the sand, out of the water trap. But Larson gets back going again. Here comes Howerton up on the outside through the rockers. He's making a move going by Hanna on the outside.
Howerton in pursuit. That's Larson in third. Now Hanna tries Howerton. Hanna is in fourth place. Howerton is in fifth. A tremendous battle for third place. Larson still sitting in third in that terrific fight between Howerton and Hanna. Hanna now in fourth place, sets sail, and is in pursuit of the third place bike ridden by Phil Larson. None of this, of course, though, is bothering our leader, as Dave Bailey has expanded his lead. Bailey is in tremendous physical shape. Honda's in good position. They currently occupy first, third, and fourth. And part of the reason is their physical conditioning. For an expansion of that idea, here's Gary.
We talk so much about the demands on the body, the physical conditioning, how important it is. Here's Jeff Spencer, who trains the Honda team. And Jeff, at this stage in the competition, when the body is really suffering, is really tired, how can you combat that fatigue?
Well, I think the most important thing is the pre-race training preparation. And certainly the most important thing as far as training goes is that it allows the rider to concentrate longer. So in the later stages of a race, as long as the rider can concentrate, the incidence of falling is much less, and his ability to perform at 100% is very much increased.
Is there any sport that puts such demands on the body as motocross competition?
Well, I think that there may be sports that place similar demands, but certainly that don't involve quite the danger, because you're talking about going 50 or 60 miles an hour with a 200-pound machine, with the possibility of that landing on you. So certainly concentration is very important.
So it's the balance of an acrobat and the endurance of a long-distance runner.
Paul, we can't say enough for Bailey's smooth effort here, and that's what's giving him the advantage. He is putting 2 seconds a lap on the field, and that is a lot. But he's very smooth doing it, and I think that's the key to the effort.
Of course, he learned a great deal about that traveling with his father. He has been on the circuit since age 12, and he says he learned to watch the other riders, and that really pays off as he comes around, still leading, still pulling out, as you said, 2 seconds a lap on this man. Brock Glover in second place on number 6. Now, Glover is 2 years older than Bailey is, and we talked earlier about fatigue and how it might be a factor. It appears that Glover is fatigued at this time. He's riding very carefully. None of the daring and show that we saw in the earlier part of the event from Glover. But Dave Bailey, riding in concert on that CR250, is the dominant power in this race. Look how easily he handles the machine. He leads. Glover is second. Larson is third. This is Paul Page with Johnny Rutherford and Gary Gerald. We're back at Anaheim Stadium for Supercross motorcycle racing. Dave Bailey is currently our leader in front of a tremendous crowd. We're sold out here. And one of the things they like to see is the water hole.
Well, the water hole has turned into more of a mud hole, a real mud bath, but it's been no problem for David Bailey. Here he is now, number 11. He's in traffic, but he contends with it beautifully now as he makes his way through, protecting that huge lead that he's opened up.
There's your leader, David Bailey. Second place is still the same, Brock Glover, but now Johnny O'Mara has moved up into third place and is beginning to challenge second place. But here's young Dave Bailey. Last year, the winner at this event was Donnie Hansen. Hansen was injured in the fall, and it opened the door for Bailey to get this ride with Honda as he fights his way around the course and continues to lead.
You know, Paul, that bobble he made in the Super Berm was the first one I've seen him make, so could be that the length of this race is starting to take its toll and his concentration is slipping a bit. Being out front like that, he's going smooth, but he doesn't know for sure who might be there knocking on the door. He gets a chance now and then to look back, but he's going just as hard as he wants to right now, and that's plenty good.
Everybody did wonder going into this event what effect the new rule would have in terms of fatigue. They're all riding one extra event. Here's a man that's obviously fatigued. Brock Glover is really fighting the machine and fighting the course. Dave Bailey now beginning to wear as well. As he comes around, he will head for the white flag, signifying one more lap to go.
Paul, down here at the base of the jump with the white flag, you can almost sense the elation building now. And David Bailey, he knows that if he can just keep it on line, avoid a major disaster, he will have won his first major Supercross event.
It's almost unheard of. Almost a 20-second lead that Dave Bailey holds over the second place Brock Glover. 3/4 of a lap to go. There's Glover in second place. Just off the screen is Johnny O'Mara, who is as far back as 8th and now has worked his way up to 3rd and is closing on Glover. Dave Bailey heading now through the last several turns and toward victory. There's O'Mara. O'Mara's closing down on Glover.
Oh, it's incredible. He has come from so far back, has pushed his way up. He is riding a tremendous race.
O'Mara in challenge for second place. Glover trying to hold him off. Mara still closing down. Bailey now sensing victory, heading for the checkered flag. The battle is for second place. Here comes Bailey. The little professor just a few yards now between he and victory in his first ever Supercross. The checkered flag waves for Dave Bailey, number 11, first across the line. We have a winner, but we still have a battle for second place as O'Mara makes his charge on Glover, and O'Mara gets past Glover for second place. Glover is 3rd. Let's go down to Gary Gerald.
David, a tremendous moment, your first big win, the grin from ear to ear. What's it feeling like right now with these thousands of people roaring your approval?
It's great. I wish everybody out there could feel the way I do right now, man. This is an all-time high.
I know that you've worked hard for this one.
I'm going to drink this whole thing.
Was it as easy as you made it appear?
I'll tell you, I hate to say it because everybody else is, good, but it felt pretty easy. I just hung in there with those guys. I sort of had a feeling in the back of my mind they were going to make a mistake, and they did.
Well, David, congratulations on a spectacular performance. David Bailey, our winner. Johnny O'Mara with that sensational finish, nipping Brock Glover for second. Bob Hanna is 4th, Kent Howard in 5th, but the honors go to David Bailey.
Oh, thank you, Gary. There's a man who finishes with a flair. David Bailey up over the finish line in that cross of victory. A young man who improved substantially last year may be the man to beat this year.
Well, that's right, Paul, but his dad is Gary Bailey, who teaches motocross all over the United States, so he's had a good background, and that young man should really do well this season.
So congratulations to David Bailey, the champion at the Anaheim Stadium Supercross. This is Paul Page with Johnny Rutherford and Gary Gerald. So long from Southern California.
The Anaheim Supercross Classic is our newest chapter in our history of Supercross. Be prepared to see some of the most exciting Supercross racing ever staged in other Anaheim races on our show. Join me next time for the greatest ride of your life, On Two Wheels.